Hey Arden, unfortunately we're away from school right now, but hopefully we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, I and some of your teachers are going to be creating some videos to hopefully help you understand some of the material while you're at home. Um, Hopefully through these videos you'll feel like you're able to be successful with any of the new learning or some of the old learning that we did before we were out of school. But let's lay a couple ground rules first. If you have any questions, please leave comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also leave some suggestions. If there are some things you don't understand that you need some help with, put those in the comment section and I'll post a new video and hopefully that'll help you out with whatever you need. But first we should get a message from our sponsors, Nike. They're not really our sponsors, but it'd be pretty sweet if they were our sponsors. So if you do watch this video and you want to throw me a like, or maybe throw like a at Nike in the comment section or whatever, that'd be pretty sweet because Ms. Zitzer would love a pair of free shoes. But each day I'll pull a pair of shoes out of the vault and show off some of my collection. So today we've got the Air Jordan 4 Breads, a little Chicago colorway representing where I came from. But yeah, every day I'll pull out a new pair. Hopefully we don't get through the entire collection because that means we never came back because I think I have like 80 pairs. But this video is not about shoes. It's about solving systems of equations using elimination. So you should have already learned how to substitute. If you haven't, you might want to go watch a different video first because this will make a little more sense if you know how to substitute. But we know that when we're solving a system, we're looking for two lines intersect. So we're trying to find this point of intersection. Okay. That point of intersection is going to become evident to us after we're able to isolate one variable, solve for that one, plug it back in, and get the other variable. So when you were substituting, you might have solved for this y, moved the x over, and then plugged everything back in. But in this case, we're just going to straight up cancel one of the variables so that we can get the other one, solve for that one, then plug it back in. So in this case, I have two equations, and I know when I need to eliminate that I just need to have the same coefficient but with different operations. And so when I look at this, 8x and negative 3x, those aren't the same coefficients. And in order to get them to even look the same, I'd have to change both numbers because 3 doesn't go into 8. So I'm going to look over at the y. The y's have an imaginary 1. Okay, they have a coefficient of 1. Those are already the same. So all I have to do is change the sign in order to be able to cancel out the y variable. So that's what I'm going to do. I need one of these y's to become a negative y. And I can do that easily by multiplying this entire equation by negative 1. And so when we're eliminating, we're either multiplying one of the equations by a number to change it, or we're going to multiply both equations. If we were trying to get this to be the same number, we'd have to multiply both equations because 3 doesn't go into 8 evenly. But because we have 1 as the coefficient, they're the exact same. All I have to do is multiply by negative 1 to change the sign in front of that y. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 to negative 8 to 1 and all the way over to negative 16. Okay, so when I do that, negative 1 times 8 is negative 8x. Negative 1 times y becomes minus y. And negative 1 times negative 16 becomes positive 16. Okay, remember again, there's a little imaginary 1 there. There's our coefficient. So when I look at my equations, this one isn't useful to me anymore. So I'm going to ignore that one and just focus on the 2 down here. Okay? Now I can cancel. I have the same coefficient, 1 and 1, and a different sign. One's positive, one's negative. So positive 1 minus 1 is 0. So these are going to cancel. And I'm going to add the rest of them. So negative 3x minus 8x becomes negative 11, and negative 5 plus 16 becomes positive 11. Okay? Use your calculator to check your work. Everyone, I'm sure you guys know how to add and subtract, but check using your calculator ensures that you don't make a small error here in all the lines of math you're going to do and then have to go back and find that little calculation error you made. So if you put negative 3 plus negative 8 in your calculator or negative 3 minus 8 in your calculator, you're going to get negative 11. If you put negative 5 plus 16, you're going to get 11. Just don't put negative 3 minus negative 8 because 1, that's not what it says, but 2, you'll get a completely different number. All right, now I just have a simple one-step equation to solve. I need to get x by itself. Negative 11 is being multiplied against x, so this has negative 11 times some imaginary number is going to be 11. and I need to figure out what that number is. And so in order to do that, I need to use the inverse operation of multiplying, which is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 11. Negative 11 divided by negative 11 is 1, so I'm left with 1x. And 11 divided by negative 11 is negative 1. Okay, so I know that my x-coordinate right now is negative 1. So if I'm figuring out where these two lines intersect, I know they intersect at negative 1 something. Now I got to figure out where the other ones go. All I have to do that is the same as when I substitute. I have to put this number into one of any of these three equations. It doesn't matter if it's the first one, the second one, or the third one. As long as you plug it into one of the equations, you're going to get the same thing. So I'm going to pick the original equation up at the top, and I'm going to plug that in. So I have 8x plus y equals negative 16. I'm going to take that negative 1 and plug it right into here. So I'm going to have 8 times negative 1 plus y equals negative 16. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8 plus y equals negative 16. At this point, all I need to do is solve for y. So I just have to get y by itself. In order to get y by itself, I just need to get rid of this negative 8 right here. How do I get rid of a negative 8? I add it. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. That's going to cancel this one out. See ya. And all I'm left with now is y equals negative 8. Now I have both parts of my corner point. And there is my point of intersection. So I've solved the system. If I went through and substituted, you should get the exact same answer. So if you know how to substitute, and you don't believe me, go ahead and solve this substitution. I guarantee that's the answer you're going to get. Again, if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. In the next video, I'll be doing an equation where we're multiplying by something that isn't just negative 1, so we're not just going to be changing the sign, but we're going to have to change the coefficient. So if you need help with problems like that, find the next video. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you all back at Hardin as soon as possible. Mr. Zitzer,